What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about all of these Silent Hill games, mainly focusing here on one specific rumor that we have. It's a couple days old, okay? It's definitely a little old, but it's from Dusk Golem, who I really do trust specifically when it comes to Resident Evil, Silent Hill. You can have whatever opinion you want on him. That's totally fine. But for me, when he talks about specifically Silent Hill in this case, I do believe. And the most recent thing that he said is that there's 3 more Silent Hill games being made that doesn't include the short message, the demo PT-like thing that's coming for PlayStation. Doesn't include that, and it doesn't include any of the things they've already shown. There's 3 more. Now, there was always the thought, I believe also from him and others, when they did the Silent Hill transmission, that they were missing one, that there was another project. There's details of it, but I tend to forget because there's like 9 Silent Hill things happening. But there was one I think people were talking about that was missing from the transmission that they were kind of unsure why they didn't say it in the transmission. So I'm here to, I'm not going to go super in depth in any of them. Actually, I've done videos on them more in depth in the past, but just kind of ask the question, like, is this the right strategy to go down? So we have 4 games, and I when I say games, okay, and I like to kind of like throw in this little asterisk. I know one of them is like an experience. It's not necessarily a game. It's like an interactive voting, watching, television, like whatever you want to call it. That's one of the 4 that we saw in the Silent Hill transmission, but they announced 4 experiences, 3 of them being pretty normal games, the other one not. And then you got the short message, which is again a PT-like demo, and that's probably a demo for another game that they're working on, and that's part of those 3. So you got 4, the demo, and then 3 more. So you're at 8 now. And if you don't count the demo, because I guess it wouldn't be a full-length thing, right? You still have 7. So here's the deal. I want to choose my words very carefully because people have been asking for Silent Hill for forever, and people have been asking for Metal Gear and Castlevania, and that's only if you're talking about Konami. So I guess what I'm talking about in terms of like watching my words, I am like a diehard Sly Cooper fan. I've talked about Sly Cooper wanting it to come back forever. I could say the same thing for Resistance or Infamous and franchises like that. If they were to announce, say, that there's 7 Sly Cooper games, I think my mind would probably explode. Like, I don't even know how I would contain such excitement. But I would hope that I could take a couple steps back and say, is it wise to bring back a dormant franchise by throwing literally everything, not just your kitchen sink? How about like the fridge and the stove? Just throwing everything all in one go. And I guess in one side of things, it's like, well, you can have misses there, but then you could also probably hit on 1 or 2 of them at the very right. If you have 7 products coming out for Silent Hill, the odds of failing all 7, I mean, that would be quite the story if that actually happened, right? You imagine they're going to nail some. And then some of them, maybe they wouldn't. I would also argue with more products that you announce, there are higher odds you'd also miss on them, right? So in the same way that they're not all guaranteed to be massive failures, they're also not guaranteed to be massive successes, which means some of them would be failures. You know what I mean? And then also, I mean, you have to think about it from a Konami angle, where it's like, is this the strategy across the board? So like, we know Metal Gear and then also to some extent Castlevania, like they're coming back. So like, are you gonna make like 15 Castlevania games? Are you gonna make Metal Gear like like nobody's ever seen it before? Actually, for Metal Gear, you actually run into immediately a big problem because if there is no Hideo, not to get too far into that because we're talking about Silent Hill, but you eventually run into issues there, right? No Hideo, no Metal Gear, so maybe you can only do remakes, whereas Silent Hill, I guess you don't need the originals. You can kind of just do your own thing while also remaking games. I would say this is not the strategy that I would choose, but I guess I understand it in some sense where it's a company that's been dormant, not just with Silent Hill, with everything in the gaming landscape, right? You've been dormant for so long. You want to come back. Not that they're actually doing it, but, they're handing it out. They're going wild. They're saying, hey, we were sleeping like forever. We're up now, and we have these tickets, these golden tickets to make your own Silent Hill game. We have like 1,000 of them, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start handing them out. And then if you want one, you take a flyer. And like, I guess I get it to some extent. Like, that's understandable. I feel like it's oversaturation in a way where it's like, is there a way of coming back, a franchise coming back that's been dead for so long and people really want it to come back? Is there a way of doing that wrong And I'm not saying like, I don't want to come across like I'm massively attacking, because again, on the flip side, I got to understand, because I'm not a giant. I do like Silent Hill. I'm going to be playing many of these experiences that are coming out, but I can't consider myself like a diehard. But I think about it, and it's like, okay, well, if there's like 1,000 Sly Cooper games, I would be really, really pumped about it. But then I also have to think, well, is it too much? Like, why do you need 7 of them? How does that even work in the scheme of things? So it's I think personally, it's my video, my channel, I think it's an interesting discussion, but you guys let me know in the comments. Do you think it's kind of too much, too fast? Do you think you understand why they're doing it the way they are? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next one.